Well, tomorrow is July 4th, and President Biden is already celebrating. Meanwhile, in D.C., politicians are enjoying holiday barbecues, many roasting dozens of hot dogs in Jerry Nadler's pants. Of course, since the 4th is upon us, that means we will once again enjoy the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. But since Joey Chestnut was banned this year, they found a talented replacement. She's got an appetite. Settle down, people. Now, talk about bad timing. After President Biden's disastrous debate, the First Lady appeared on the cover of Vogue. Meanwhile, Joe had his own post-debate photo shoot.
That's pretty good.
You might have heard President Biden will pre-tape an interview with Democrat and former Clinton staffer George Stephanopoulos. Observers believe he's so weak and stupid that Joe will probably go easy on him. Shorter than me, actually. Many Democrats are hoping the party will replace President Biden and get some young blood in the race, prompting one contender to get a transfusion from local orphans. And some bad news for Gavin Newsom. It recently resurfaced that he had dated a 19-year-old when he was 39, had an affair with the wife of a campaign manager, and was addicted to alcohol. Or as Hunter calls it, amateur hour. Let's do a monologue. So right now, Democrats seem more confused than Ilhan Omar on her wedding night. The Dems, of course, are trying to figure out what just happened. The 40% of America who reside on the left have apparently believed that behind closed doors, Joe Biden is sharp, engaged, and commanding. Take it from this Dem senator just a few weeks ago.
Those of us who serve with President Biden, who know him, who have had the opportunity up close and in personal in meetings in the White House or in events publicly or privately, to give affirmation that he is sharp, he is engaged, and he is commanding.
Right. And I'm favored to win the world's ugliest man contest. But boy, did they get a rude awakening. Worse than when I asked Taylor Swift to leave before breakfast. Turns out Joe's as sharp as a blob of Jell-O and half as sturdy. Meanwhile, the rest of us have a few questions of our own. Here's number one, directed at the media who claim to be shocked by Biden's dementia. Are you me? By the way, it's the same question Biden's pants ask every day. I kid, pants can't talk. But the idea of the media being shocked seems like another cover-up. Yeah, the same people who told us Joe is about to get his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now expect us to believe they had no idea Joe had the brain matter of an expired box of Trump steaks. So here's what we should want to know. Number one, who exactly orchestrated this scam? Who put out the talking points telling us Joe was FDR when he was really DOA? Because suddenly now they're all on the same page. Is it the media, who is so far behind the rest of us that they come off as clueless, bubble-wrapped lapdogs? Or have they simply shifted into covering up the cover-up, circling the wagons around the crime scene they helped create?
It is not honest to say that this is just one night. There have been moments like this that people have seen in front of the cameras and other moments with cameras not there.
The doubts of whether he can do it and then whether he can govern for another 4 years are still stubborn. Doubts expressed both in public and in private, including among some of the most essential and consequential supporters of any campaign. Those are major donors.
The president and his advisors are in full damage control after last week's disastrous debate.
That's some great acting. They make Darren from Bewitched look like Laurence Olivier. Now, clearly, somebody was keeping Joe's unfitness under wraps for a while, and they hoped Biden would survive the debate, which he didn't. Because remember, first, Joe was just fine. Then it was cheap fakes. Then he had a cold. Now he's tired from too much travel. Travel that happened 10 days before the debate. Maybe it's long COVID, polio, bird flu, Ebola. Although I thought viruses needed a living host. But I haven't heard this many fireable excuses since my assistant accidentally booked me in coach. Enjoy unemployment, sister. So if it's a cover-up of the cover-up, then who's been running this long con? Is it Jill, the DNC, the execs at the major networks, Rachel Maddow's barber? Whatever, they all have more blood on their hands than a vampire with the shakes. Are the bosses of these corporate press outlets right now demanding from their employees answers as to why they missed the biggest story of their lives? Or more likely, are those bosses responsible for the talking points? Could it be that exposing a Democrat president, it doesn't win any big awards, but chasing Trump around 24/7, that does? Here's another pesky question. Now that the entire nation sees Joe's condition, shouldn't we demand to know who's been running the country? It's not him, and it hasn't been for a while. That old fart couldn't run his own bath. Oddly, though, there are still Dems saying that everything's fine. That's a tell as well, that they know Biden's not in charge and hasn't been in charge for some time. So who's behind the curtain? Who made the call on the Afghanistan pullout? Who decided to leave billions in lethal advanced weaponry with the Taliban? Who really approved the student loan bailouts? Who weaponized our justice system? And for God's sake, who the hell has been running the border? I mean, you could say that Joe's in charge because only a mentally ill person could have agreed to all that. Except, and here's the rub, when someone has lost their faculties, they may have nonsense in their brain, but they have no way to act on it. It's the counter argument you hear when someone pleads insanity. The act of murder could have been insane, but the planning wasn't. So my last question, will we ever know the real answer to anything? Or will the Washington media complex quickly create another hoax to keep us busy? Think of all the major hoaxes. From the 97% of climate experts agree global warming is man-made, to the 51 former intel officers calling the laptop Russian disinfo. How many were initiated and then organized by the same kind of people? So who did that to you? And will you ever let them do it to you again? If you say no, well, then get ready for the next one coming your way. Let's welcome tonight's guests. They say you are what you eat, so I guess he's been eating a bunch of divorced losers. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. He's cooked up some zingers tonight. Hopefully he doesn't eat them all before the show starts. Comedian Joe Mackey. She's like a firecracker. If you're not careful, she'll blow your kid's hand off. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Ken Tiff. And he needs no introduction or a ladder. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion Tyra. Jamie, you look sad as usual. Is Biden's dementia a bigger cover-up than your ex-wife sleeping with other men and taking all your belongings?
Wow, but I feel like a lot of people didn't know about the Biden thing. It's fun to watch this get exposed almost. Like, for anyone that was surprised by his performance at the debate, have not been watching his day-to-day activities.
Yes.
Right? Like this guy, they said sources say he's slipping. And I looked it up. These are reliable sources. They are everyone in America's eyes and ears.
Yes.
That is the source. And what made me think that Democrats really did see that there was a problem with debate, I was on Twitter an hour after the debate. I got a little tweet from the Trump campaign that said, we're looking for donations. Even $1 would help, but if you can't, don't worry about it. And then the Biden campaign said they're looking for donations. Right now, they're looking for a brain and 2 working legs.
That's funny.
Thank you. He's old, Greg.
He's
very
really old.
Are you going to donate?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, if you're going to donate, and you should donate to Red Cross. Basically, not Joe Biden, Mr. Mackey. They're now blaming his travel schedule, and yet he didn't go anywhere for 12 days. Every time they make an excuse, they're insulting us. By the way, you look fantastic, especially compared to Mackey.
You mean Jamie?
Jamie.
Walked into that barn on fire.
You know, I do look fantastic. Thank you. I've been working out, and I've never been divorced.
Well, hold on there, Pilgrim. You got to be in the game first before you get cut.
Wow, that did not go as I had hoped.
I'm 0 for 1. You're 0 for 0.
I'm out of this fight.
Your coach's decision didn't play.
All right.
Hey, the bench is the best place to watch the game. Wow, this is going worse than the debate did for Biden, but this is the thing. They're doing exactly what they should be doing now, Greg, because when you're caught lying, you have to pretend like you didn't know, or they'll know you were lying. That's step number 4 in my upcoming book, How to Lie Convincingly by Joe DeVito. But there's a whole bunch of other steps you have to do as well. Like, 1, it really helps if the person you're lying about isn't under a lot of public scrutiny all the time. And 2 is when you lie about someone, you have to make the necessary changes in your life. Like, if you say that you can't keep up with Biden, you also have to include a very pronounced limp.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. KJP should have pulled a Kaiser Soze and just started walking weird. You know, it's like, I can't keep up with him. I have a limp.
I'm great at faking sick to get out of work, but I've got the cough and the cold. I said too much.
So, Kat, this was the ex-head of the New York Times, Jill Abramson, blasted the D.C. media for participating in a massive cover-up over the Biden decline. So that's the former head of the New York Times. So maybe this is going to be a bigger story than just me ranting at 20 million people. Smattering of applause.
Yeah.
That was a lie.
Real popular in the corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get out.
It should be. I think it should be, especially because it's not like this information was impossible to find. It was they were absolutely choosing to not show it. And these videos that have been on this channel all the time. I mean, to be saying now, to still, the fact that there are people still saying now, he's sharp, he's this. Nobody ever acts like that as a one-off.
Right.
That's not a one-off behavior, whether it is the mental decline due to age or somebody's just really messed up on drugs. That's not the first time the person did those drugs. That is late stage something behavior. And it's not like it can be taken out of context either. The debate, everybody saw it.
Yeah.
It was the whole debate from the start to finish. So it's not like, oh, that clip is taken out of all the context is there too. I actually am not asking this as a rhetorical question. I want to know how you could go out there and say that. How you could go out there and say this is all fine. Because I don't understand it. I don't understand at this point how you could do that. Because now people have seen it.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what would it take for them to act, would he have to eat somebody's face? You know, a real drug trip, a bad, where he just does something, where he takes a on stage. Oh, he had bad sushi. He had bad sushi on the bus ride over here.
At this point, I feel like people would be like, just because he's dead doesn't mean he has to resign.
Exactly. Tyrus, okay.
Right-wing media making a big pounces.
Yes, right-wing media pounces on president's corpse.
Yeah.
How dare they?
Yeah, it's not his fault. The teleprompter said himself.
Doesn't this make you, okay, if you're new to this world, doesn't this make you question all the other hoaxes and cover-ups? You can't trust anyone in power.
First of all, I have to disagree with Kat. He has laid the tracks of talking to the other side. We've seen that several times where he's seen ghosts in the building, and he often refers to Winston Churchill. That's probably the ally that we're hearing about that asked him to step down. So, you know, so he's setting it to where when he does die, he will give his orders from the other side. So they've laid the tracks. You not watched it?
Yes.
Listen, we've been catfished. Anyone here been catfished? Joe, I know the answer is yes.
He was catfished by me.
Yeah, I know.
Meredith Vieira.
Yes, I know. And shame on him. But to my point.
Why Meredith Vieira? Of all
Because he's right. It's always an exotic name. Because nobody would make that up, right,
That's
Joe?
true.
Remember when we were high-five laughing, going, he believes us?
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you're catfish. Okay, where's Neo? Cat, what was his name? What's the dude who started Catfish? Neo Mike?
Monte Teo?
Neff?
Monte
That's
Teo?
Schulman.
Nat Showman?
Right?
Because what happens is when they get caught, right? Even with the cameras and the experts, 3 months later, oh, well, he said his video wasn't working, and that's why. So this is the government. They're trying to tell us that it's, no, I'm really him. It's me.
Yes.
It was just my iPhone was broken, so I couldn't do the video with you, and I had some things, and I had to lie to you to protect you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what this is.
This country got catfished.
We got catfished, and they're still
By
trying
Milli
to keep...
Vanilli.
By Milli Vanilli.
We got catfished by Milli Vanilli.
Give them their Grammys back.
Exactly.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.